Hello, welcome back. So this is the part 2 of how to actually manage your online business with Appsheet. So if you have not watched the first video, you might want to watch that one just in case that you miss out something. So in this video, we are actually tackling the second part of the app, which is the front end, which is the part that you send to your client, as well as the back part, which is the Google Sheets. So how to set up a Google form and how do you set up a Google Sheets overview. So that will be the main focus of this video. So in this case, the first thing is that you need to think of how do you want to send your order form out. So this can be through many ways. So the easiest way, of course, is to just attach the link somewhere in the thing that you want to send. But there's always many ways you can approach this, but make sure that it is easy and make sure that it's familiar to people. So I believe that most people and in a modern age has been very familiar with the concept of Google Form. So which is why I actually use it as the choice here. So you can also use a lot of other things like Microsoft Forms, also is a good alternative. There's also many other online platforms that allows this kind of collection format. So just make sure that it's not from some small wonky website that nobody knows. Okay, so there are a few things that I include over here. So you can see that this is whatever your company order form, and this is a description of the company or what you want to buy, how do you want to sell, as well as the downstream process. So what happens after they send the form, and who are you, how can they contact you, should all fall under here. So I also want to collect the email addresses, not because it's necessary, but I feel like it's easier for validation process or for order confirmation when you want to just make sure that person exists and you want to send out let's say your payment info. So you do need their contact. So that's why I put an email address as well as the phone number. So for name, of course, it's just a way to address them and to know who they are and so on. So I think most of these are pretty straightforward and standards. So here comes the important part. So in this case, I'm trying to emulate an idea of an online salesman that try to sell a custom iPhone cover, let's say. So this is the custom iPhone cover that I want to sell. There's 3 of them, and I need a few information from them. The first thing is where they are. So this is a collection of states here in Malaysia, because if you don't already know, I'm from Malaysia, so I'm going to use this as an example. So we have about 13-14 states in Malaysia, and every state has a slightly different shipping costs as well as lead time. So in this case, Sabah and Sarawak is the one that has a higher shipping cost. We'll see why is it important later, but everything else is just the same cost. So it doesn't have to be the whole country. If your business is isolated to one single area, it can be the name of their street, it can be the name of their building, it can be the name of their floor, and so on, as long as just make sure that you are able to make different decision on the prices and time based on this. Okay, so of course the postcode and delivery address kind of straightforward. Is how do you want to send things over to them. So I put in another thing called postcode because it's actually cross-checking information from postcode to the location. So this is of course up to you and if you think that is important or not. So postcode also is a very good idea of where they are located and so on. So in this case, the items are very straightforward. You just have a picture of an item. I would suggest that you just put the price directly in the picture itself so that you don't have to attach such a long description over here. So what's the quantity of item? Then you give a number of different items. Of course, you do not want to have infinite different choices. People that buy 10 might also be the same people that buy 20. But it's all up to you. Everything is flexible, but just make sure you set a maximum limit per order and what is the maximum order limit that you can handle. So that is slightly important as well. So we have only 3 over here, but Google Form as well is quite flexible in terms of scalability. So if you need to scale up your information, you can always add more down below just by, let's say I want to just duplicate the whole section. You can just duplicate the whole section and you should actually get the whole thing. You should get another question, so change the name, change the description, change the quantity, change the picture, whatever you want, then you'll be able to start to sell more. So that is I would say the power of Google Form, relatively straightforward, relatively familiar to most of the people in the general public. And the best thing I like about it is the Google Sheet backend. So if you have done, I have done several dummy responses over here where you can just go into the response sheet and that will bring you to a Google Sheet. So the power of Google Sheet is that now you have all the Google functions and Appsheet and all the automation in your hand relatively straightforward and relatively easily. And it's also a useful way to pipe the information into our Appsheet later. So from the form response, you can see they are really structured. That's what I really like about the export from a Google form. You can see every single column is actually based on a single question, and you can actually see that they are all from the same data type. So in this case, postcode will always be a number, state will always be part of the selections, phone number will always be phone numbers, name will always be name, be a character, and so on. So you need a very specific data type for the downstream. So the first step, what I would do here is to change it into something called processing one. So you can name it whatever you want. But what is it actually? It's just directly referring to the form response one while changing the header. So there's no change in exactly the information is exactly the same, just that I do not want to have a long header over there when I type the Appsheet, because it will make your downstream processing really quite complicated. So remember that not to put any equations here yet, because that will actually complicate the downstream calculations when you pipe the Appsheet. So you can only use things like array formula, you can use refer, you can use that this cell is equal to that cell. That's fine, as long as you do not have complicated calculation in your Google Sheets. We'll do the calculations directly on the other end. Okay, so there's Proc 1 and Proc 2. It's not necessary to get a Proc 2, just that I like to give myself a little bit of leeway when I try to create this kind of template, so that if anything I need to change, I can always change here and actually pipe it back to here. So I can rearrange a little bit of things and it would not affect anything else. So it's not necessary, it's just some temporary safeguard that I put in for myself, just in case I need it down the road. Okay, so the other thing I need here is the tracking of the process. So in this case, all this shall be empty. I'll show you how to add it back later. So first thing, we'll need a sales key. So a sales key is a unique key, which is a combination of a few things over here. So we'll show you how to do that later. So these are the important stages that you need in your sales process. So this is completely up to you. So this part of it is what do you want to put in. So in this case, I'll just put in a very simple, straightforward information that if there's 4 stages in a production flow. So you receive a new order, you first of all confirm the order with the buyer. Are you sure that this is what you want to buy? Is this the total price? This is your correct address? Are you the person that we want to say? And this is my payment information. Please pay me. So if they say yes, I'm the person, I'll pay you soon, means this is a confirmed order, means this part is done. So if they pay, this part is done. So once they pay, I'll prepare for my stuff to get delivered. I'll prepare the stuff so that my staff would deliver it to them. So someone else would deliver it to them. So in this case, once they're already out for delivery, usually you do not deliver one by one, you deliver in one bulk, so that it's, you save the cost of the logistic over there. But so if it's out for delivery in the morning, you can change everything to a yes. And once the drivers has passed the object of interest into the seller, we call it delivered, means we close the cases. So there are technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different stages in the sell process here. But we're going to use 4 of them in the middle, because we do not need to, from 4 you can calculate 6. That's what I meant. So, okay, so once you are done with this, okay, so you just need to enter the header over here, or the content will be generated later in the other end. Okay, so the next thing we need is, of course, the calculation of prices. So in this case, I have put in the response Google form just now, where 5 is 5 per item. So if you buy above 10, you get 10% discount. So this is a breakdown of the price. So 1 to 10 is 5 to 50 ringgit, or 5 to any currency of US respectively. And then everything above 11 will give you a 5%. So 55 become 50, and 20 times 5 is 100, become 90 ringgit. So this is the offer that we could be able to provide to the person that want to buy. So these are the overall prices overall. So of course you can include everything up to 100, up to 1,000, that's up to you. We'll do a lookup table later to show you how to calculate the total cost for an order automatically without you getting involved. Okay, so lastly is, of course, the shipping cost, how much you want to charge depending on the distance. So Appsheet has a way to calculate map distance, but we're not going to complicate ourselves, and we're just going to go down the road of every state has a slightly different shipping prices, where we put everything as 5 and only Sabah and Sarawak, which is on the other side of Malaysia across the sea, to be slightly more expensive. Okay, so in this case, we can also automatically calculate the quantity times the price over here plus the shipping cost, so that the order will get bumped into this is the total cost of the shipping and this is the total cost that we need to report to the buyer. This is how much you want to pay me automatically into one single short key or something like that. Okay, so I think that is the thing. So just to summarize this video, this is how do you create a Google form. Make sure it's easy, simple to use. My suggestion is follow exactly as per this one, because everything downstream depends on the structure input over here. And once you're confident that this will work, you can continue to modify a little bit, as long as you understand how does it affect everything downstream. So in the Google Sheet, what you need to notice is that try not to use equations in the form responses. Pipe it to the other two sheets so that you give yourself a little bit of leeway. First thing, to rename the title so that it's shorter and easier to understand. It goes straight to the point of what it wants to tell. Secondly, of course, you can actually have a little bit of modifications, and you can change the order of the column down the road without affecting everything down on the other Appsheet side. And we have a stable status, which is how we want to track the order later on. We'll show you how. And quantity prices and shipping cost is just how you're going to calculate the total cost of the overall sales. Yeah, how much does one sales actually cost to the customer easily, and we can communicate directly without any errors. So that's I have for part 2. So we'll see you in part 3. Bye.